Shalom, this is Mir Neshama. I am talking to you from my home isolation in Jerusalem. And this is what I want to talk about and share with you today as a kavanah. How isolation, Bidud, can be a beautiful opportunity for Hitbobedut. This type of meditation, of Jewish spiritual practice where we get really intimate with God and with ourselves. It's not easy to make that step. It's not necessarily easy. This is a very challenging time for many of us on a global scale. Not all of us have a spacious space, a comfortable space inside, and we're all basically stuck home, right? And home is not always comfortable. First of all, physically, sometimes we don't have enough space for ourselves. We don't have any outer space in our homes. Some of us find ourselves in difficult conditions. And then there is something on a symbolic level that this situation is kind of like making us face what is their home. Maya Shitzli, what is there at my home? What is there here? And it means, we realize the truth of our lives. What is there here when there is nowhere else to go, when there is nowhere else that calls us all day long, that we're running so that we don't have time to think and to kind of like face the truth of our lives, of our living situation. What is home? How is home? What does it look like? How does it feel? Who is in there? Who is not in there, right? Who do I live with? How is it home? With my partner, my spouse, my children, my friends, my roommates, myself, right? My first roommate. And so this is what it's confronting us to. So in addition to the economic hardship that a lot of us all around the world are suffering, the physical hardship, the illness, there is this additional layer of challenge, which is psychological, which is that suddenly the situation for a lot of us who are used to being very busy out there, right, to have very tight schedules, a lot of meetings, who are used to have externally imposed schedules, like at a certain time that we need to be out of the home every day, a certain time that we need to be somewhere all day. Or the children who are not there and suddenly they're there and we have to take care of them in addition with managing our own schedule, right? So this is a situation that results in being very, very challenging for a lot of people around the world. And I just want to pause and hold space for that, together, kind of really feel for everyone right now who is feeling fear, anguish, frustration, who's feeling disoriented, who's feeling powerless, who is feeling just decentered, right, unbalanced, because suddenly we're like home. And I want to suggest that there is a possible gift there. And that's what I want to talk about, this notion that we have, in Jewish thought of gamzu le tovah, gamze le tovah, this too is for the good. So we know this story is coming from this kind of Talmudic story of Rabbi Gamzu le tovah, who always says, well, this too is for the good. And so he has this adventure where only bad things happen to him, right? And instead of complaining, he keeps saying, Gamzu le tovah, this too is for the good, this too is for the good. And in the end, everything ends up turning out for the good for him, and everything goes well. And so the kind of moral of this little story is that whenever we find ourselves in unexpected, difficult situations that we don't have control over, if only we, instead of resisting it and complaining and stuff, we say to ourselves, well, this too is for the good, then it may turn out for the good. This is a tricky moral, right? Because sometimes it feels really, really difficult, if not impossible, to say this too is for the good. And actually, I'm not going for the interpretation that says, everything is for the good. After the show, I find it very difficult to say things like this. Sorry, I'm Ashkenaz, But, however, there is something very deep, which is when confronted to difficult situation, one thing I can say to myself is, what good can I possibly help come out of this situation? Which is different from saying this too is for the good, right? But it's saying, what good can I find there? What can happen here? And this is the invitation that I want to extend to you, which is kind of like going from Bidud, isolation, to Hitbobedut, really. And it starts with, like I was saying, confronting, facing the truth of our lives, because this is what the situation is kind of like inviting us to do, like to really face the truth of our lives. When suddenly we're being homebound, facing the reality of what our home is like, right, physically and emotionally, and with the people in it and or not in it, right. Um, it's a wonderful invitation actually to really reflect on our lives, to reset our priorities, to look deeply and to say, okay, what is my life? Does my life look like my soul's calling? Does my life look like what I wanted it to be or what I want it to be? And then what can I do, right? And really, this idea that when a door closes, another door opens is very, very true. And here we can read this almost in a way that is literal, right? Because the door to our homes is closed, but it's closed from the outside, right? Because we're being homebound. And actually, that sometimes is a gift, at least for spiritual practice, that really is a gift. It's like once you close the door in your home and you have nowhere to go, no distraction, right? Then you have the opportunity to see what's there. And the opportunity to see what's there is what's called, in other terms, the opportunity for self-awareness. And self-awareness really brings a lot of freedom because it enables us to kind of like undo all the knots, untie all the knots, to kind of like letaken, to fix, to heal everything that needs to be healed, because finally we can attend to it, because finally we can see it. So when we can see things, we can attend to them. And when we can attend to things, we can take care of things, right? And so self-awareness can create a lot of healing, and gives also a lot of freedom, because it gives us the clarity to see what we want, where we're going, what are our goals, and so to make better informed decisions. And all of this gives us more shalva, more serenity, and it also gives us simply more appreciation. And this has been scientifically proven, by the way, by like psychologists and psychiatrists, like the power of the self-awareness that comes from what we call mindfulness, right? Mindful practice, the practice of being present to what is, which is the definition of mindfulness. And in Jewish meditation, we really, really find that practice of being present to what is in cheshbon nefesh, the accounting of the soul, in hitbobedut, kind of self-inquiry, in kavana, meditation, really likaven, to kind of direct our thoughts or presence to a specific goal, and in hitbobedut, which is a practice by which we're invited to self-seclude, to isolate ourselves from others and from the world, so that we can be with ourselves and with God and be intimate with God. And so that's kind of like the invitation that I've taken, upon for myself, to take this period, this challenging period of uncertainty, where we don't even know how long this is going to last, but really to take it as a huge gift, an invitation for kind of like a home meditation practice, and for Hitbobedut, because Hitbobedut, we know it as the Rabbi Nachman's, teaching, Rabbi Nachman's Hitbobedut, which was about like going out in the fields and in the forest to talk to God. But before Rabbi Nachman, there was another sage, actually, Abraham Abulafia, in the 12th century, who was teaching another type of another version, let's say, of Hitbobedut, which was about literally like home seclusion. So the idea was that you would, be home and kind of like close the doors and have no company and no diversion, and just be with yourself and cleanse yourself and get ready to encounter God, really. So in his version, it comes through writing, right? So repeating letters of the divine name, etc. But here, I would say the Hitbobedut is more like the kind of frame, the framework, the reka, the background, which is just that isolation that becomes a space, like a beautiful empty canvas, a canvas on which we can really draw the beautiful work of art of our lives, just the way we see fit. So this is a time where we have time and space to really go develop and deepen and strengthen our inner life. And so this is a time where we can play music, where we can, draw, paint, where we can do crafts and arts, where we can take care of our bodies, take care of others, where we can read again, have time to read again, and use our own imagination instead of just sitting in front of the TV and Netflix and just having it all just being fed, right, ready-made images and things. But we can actually use our imagination and creativity. This is a time where we can write, where we can actually lesader, like put in order our homes, our lives, our priorities, make a big kind of like make a big home cleansing for Pesach. It's actually the perfect time for this. So this time of challenge is actually an invitation for a big reset, and also an amazing space that's given to us to go deep inside and really like actually grow our inner light. And that's the invitation I wanted to share with you. That really is going to be my practice for these weeks to come and maybe months to come. And that's a practice I wanted to share with you, and I want to share with you. And for this reason, with Or Halev and Applied Jewish Spirituality, which are two Israeli-based organizations I work with, we have kind of like a lineup now with several teachers of meditations really every day, mostly afternoons and evenings, but also some mornings. And I'm offering meditations, some of them in French, some of them in English. But the idea is really like to share that space of practice, to share my own practice with you guys, to support your practice, to support you in going deeper in your spiritual practice, and also to support you really. And so, you will see a link below this video with like all the different types of like offerings that we have. These are all free offerings because, well, first of all, it's the way we work as Jewish meditation teachers. We work by giving freely so that you can give freely, so that you actually have an opportunity to give instead of paying for something, right? It's more like I get to give and you get to give, because giving in itself is a spiritual practice, like strengthening that capacity of chesed, of kindness, of generosity. Giving without being forced, it's very, very, very powerful. But there's an additional reason for that now, which is that, as I mentioned, this is a time of a real, genuine economic hardship for a lot of people today. And so I want this practice to be accessible to anyone. And so really my invitation is I give freely, and depending on your own economic situation today, if you can afford, be as generous as you can, because then you support me in supporting you, and then you're supporting other people who today can't afford what you can. So it's just an additional level of beauty in this kind of like interdependence, in this maagal, in this circle of giving and chesed and generosity. So this was the kavanah I wanted to share with you guys, like to really like to turn upside down this the challenge into a beautiful space of promise, and to turn the bidud into Hitbobedut, a possibility for us of like deep dvikut, like intimacy with God, which in a Hasidic perspective starts with intimacy with ourselves. So an opportunity to become wider, wiser, better. This is what it can become for us. So I bless us that we stay healthy and positive and serene and humble and present and joyous and joyful. And I look forward to practicing with you. Have a beautiful day and week. Pesach Sameach.